And we are live. Welcome. You are watching the No Agendas Football Podcast, a show where we contradict the title.
Blatantly.
Everyone has agendas. Whether your agenda is to be neutral and sit on the fence and play it safe so nobody comes after you, whether your agenda is to prove a player is overrated, or whether, like me, you have a Conte agenda and you've been waiting all season for Tottenham to fall down flat on their face to highlight this guy's an overrated manager. Whatever your agenda is, the question is, can you back it up with substance, with intelligence, with a strong argument? That's the challenge for the panel and myself. Shout out to Johnny, Cass, and Jimmy for supporting me and joining me on this stream. And I ain't going to waste no time. I'm going to go straight to you, Johnny. Harry Kane, the Times story came out today. Tottenham won 100 million cash. If you want to do the deal early, Man United, it's 100 million cash. So 3 questions in one, really. Is he world class? Is he a bottle job? And would you advocate for Man United paying 100 million cash to get the deal done quickly?
So if it's under Glazer ownership, no, not if it's Glazer ownership, because we've got other areas of the team that need to be addressed. If it's Qatar ownership, then obviously yes, because money will, to a degree, I imagine, will be no sort of object. So if Qatar come in and we get Qatar, then that's a no-brainer. You got to do it straight away. Is he a bottle job? Look, I think there's valid question marks on his mentality. I was in a space today with Ariam. Shout out to Ariam, man. And different sides of the argument. I think both sides valid points. I think Shai and you, Dan yourself, mentioned some good points that you can't blame a team's failings down to one player, which I think that's a fair defense of Kane. But equally, in certain moments when you need that, you sort of big players to step up. Like we always look at the big players to be that guy in that moment. There's been moments in his career where he hasn't stepped up. So I feel like the way the discussion was put across today was more balanced than what I've heard before. And I don't think listening to what I heard today, I still think there's question marks, but I don't think it's the argument against him has been as fair as what I heard today. I'm sort of warmed to it a bit more today. There's no question his talent. There's no question his talent. He's been doing it season out for 5-6 seasons now. Around 30 plus goals per season. There's not many strikers, if any, that have been doing that in the last decade in the Premier League. So there's no denying his talent. And what does 25-30 goals do for Manchester United is the question. And even if he doesn't get the goals in the moments that matter, there's Casemiro, there's Bruno, there's Rashford, there's other players that could step up to be that player in that moment should Kane not be that guy. So if it's under Qatar, then you got to do that deal. You got to do that deal. If it's under Glazers, then I feel like we have to be a bit more pragmatic in our approach and more calculated, because obviously we don't have a war chest under the Glazers. Will be similar to.
I feel like you're sitting on the fence, man. I feel like you're playing.
Wait, I'm trying
playing safe, innit? He's playing safe.
I'm trying to be balanced.
He's trying. Listen, he's sticking to the title.
I'm genuinely trying to have no agenda approach.
He's no agenda. But,
you've got no agendas of Johnny.
Give Johnny his flowers, man. Give Johnny his flowers.
Reasonable. There's no denying his talent. But I do want to dispel one myth that I've seen on Twitter from a big United account with nearly 100,000 followers. You know what I'm talking about, Daniel. Kane on his own does not take United to a title. We need more than Kane. It's a ridiculous question that a big United account from a certain stand has put out.
What account?
What was the statement?
It's 100 million worth it for a title, because obviously Kane's going to be 100 million. Kane is not.
What account are you talking about?
I'm just going to sit in my kitchen. He's cooking.
Name them, bro. They're public accounts, man.
Beth.
Oh, Beth. So what did she say? So okay. So Kane by himself.
Yeah, she put it's 100 million worth it for the title, and I looked at quote to it.
Yeah, but do you know what it is? I bet if you had a conversation with her, it would be like, obviously, we need a goalkeeper, we need a. Do you know what I mean? Like that stuff.
I speak to Beth. Yeah, big up Beth, by the way. She's actually a sweetheart. Yeah, she acknowledges we need a new goalkeeper. She acknowledges, like, she was even going today, like she was saying what's the free alternative. She was saying what's the free alternatives to like Frankie De Jong. Like, she knows what we need, innit? Like she's there, but she's more on the She's
you know
more
what it
Austin
is?
trained more than a Kane trained, though. By the way, I'll just
That don't surprise me because nobody just wants to sign a striker and leave it. Like no one. Like there's nobody who would probably.
There's no striker that's gonna put us to the league anyway.
Let's get back on track though. Cass, talk to me, man.
So I don't get this. You know what it is? I think you said it faintly in the group. In the space earlier, right? Ariam, yeah. One, you don't know how to run a space in it. You don't just pause every single moment.
Oh man, he's terrible.
Honestly, it's a fucking headache. Yeah, you can go take your ADHD.
Don't none of you ever complain to me again about muting.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to him. He's been running.
One thing I do like about Ariam, he does keep on topic. He don't let it slide. The topic must be the topic in it. But for me, I don't get these people that complain about very, very good players. Like, why do you slander such sick players? Like, what is the issue here? For me, Harry Kane, if he becomes available in the market, where do you know to find another complete striker? Yes, I get he's 29 going on 30. The market's inflated massively. Daniel Levy's another factor. You're gonna have to pay up the money. How badly do you want a title? I was saying, like, what's the difference between Martial and Harry Kane? We all know that Martial is good for this team, but his availability is no ability, pretty much. So, on that note, what's the difference between Harry Kane and Martial with the way they play? They drop deep, they hold up the ball, they play quick behind. They play quite good on the half turns. What else is there? The no look passes, the balance. What's the difference? Just a little bit of pace.
This is the thing, though. Would you be happy paying 100 million?
Yes, I would, because I'm starving for goals. So at this moment of time, I can be appreciative because if we want to talk about Osimhen and talk about the deals, then cool, he's going to cost us more than 100 million. He's going to cost us 120 million, Danny. And also that Di Lorenzo, whatever his name is, that owns Napoli, is just as bad as Levy. So it's going to be the exact same case, of course. So it just depends. Which deal do you want to get done quickly and which deal would you rather drag over the line? I think Napoli, the striker situation might be worth dragging towards the end because it would benefit us more than obviously Tottenham trying to drag us like Dimitar Berbatov back in 2008. This whole mentality approach. Does Kane have the mentality? Bro, I get it. Harry Kane should have squared that ball. Harry Kane should have done this, but we can say that about bare plays. A lot of players should have done this or that, right? So on that notice, it's like, is his mentality shocking? I think so. But if big up Shy, by the way, but she talks amazingly, right? She shut down the whole space and the whole topic within just a matter of minutes. It's like it's the culture of the club that breeds the mentality. So of course, if you go in Tottenham Football Club, out every single team that you can think of, especially in the top six, they don't win nothing. So you're gonna have to pick some of these players out and make them winners. You believe in Eric Ten Hag to make Harry Kane a winner? Is it really all his fault because he has to drop deep, so deep to the point, right? He gets lost in the space in the midfield because nobody can create. Why is that his fault? You know what I mean? He has to do everything in and around everything. So for me, age is not a problem. No one had a problem when Robin Van Persie came to Man United at 30 years old with just one FA Cup. You know, so what's the difference? He didn't win no titles there. It's just that I get it. I'm not disrespecting FA Cup, but FA Cup meant more back then than it does now, unfortunately. But one FA Cup don't mean nothing. Mustafi won a World Cup. Does he have a great mentality? No, he was still shit. So can Eric Ten Hag change this player? Because we talk about mentality of these players going so differently this season. Why can't he do the same for Harry Kane? Why can he not pick them out of that pot and make him realize when you come to Man United, there's going to be a project going on top of many other stuff. Obviously, hopefully it's Qataris or even Jim Ratcliffe, even if he does come in, you know, it's going to be something to breed. It is Man United. As soon as you come into Old Trafford, as dim as it may be, your eyes are going to light up when you see that trophy cabinet, the size of the stadium itself, but probably the family feel around the club itself as well that Eric Ten Hag is bringing more than what Conte is bringing. So that's just my 2 pence on it.
Jimmy, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm paying it, bro. It's a no-brainer for me. And, you know, for people talking about Harry Kane's age, nonsense. The way Harry Kane plays, doesn't matter his age at the moment. He's in his prime right now in terms of because Harry Kane is probably one of the most varied strikers that you will ever see. He's got so many various ways that he can play. He's one of the few strikers that you can see adjusting to the game and the rhythm of the game. You don't get that from strikers. Strikers are normally quite one-dimensional, and Harry Kane is one of the more variable ones that you get. So I'm snatching the hands off. 100 million for the number, and don't forget, Harry Kane playing in the Man United team makes Bruno better. I don't know if people realize that as well. So there's that element to add, because the variation, the various ways that he can attack means that he can allow Bruno to be able to be a little bit more creative, and maybe the things that he tries that other strikers that we've got don't latch onto, you find that Harry Kane will be getting to the end of those balls. So I think all round, you're looking at a much, much better attack if you've got Harry Kane in your team. If you talk about his goals, bro, an extra 25, 30 goals a season, and also him being in the team potentially means Bruno scores more goals. It potentially means Sancho scores more goals. So you're looking at all these other elements to it that, if you think about Harry Kane, he's putting all these bits together. So I think he's more than people think he is in that Manchester United team, even if you put him in the team that we've got today. So forget any potential other signings that we might make. But if you just look at, you put Harry Kane in the team today, he's making 2 or 3 other players 10, 15, 20% better. So I'm snatching their hands off.
Not even that. All the 11 I would like to add. The whole team I would like to add, because we generally struggle with control. Kane does bring an element of control. The only thing I would like to highlight is, of course, when you do counter-attack, he's going to be left for dead trying to get out of that pitch. But this is where you add, it don't matter what striker you add into this situation, Kane, Osimhen, Gonzalo Ramos, and all these players, everyone needs some extra players in there, first team ballers, to make it, like, to puzzle the pie and put it all together and make it hold. You get what I mean? So it doesn't matter. It just depends what way you want to go about it. That's just my thing with it.
Yeah, no, I think you guys made some good points. For me as well, I think whatever you have either side of Kane will work, whether it's pace and power, whether it's crafty players like Anthony and Sancho. I think that all works with Harry Kane. And when I'm looking at the market across multiple positions, he's the only close to a guarantee that you could get in the transfer market. There are no guarantees, right? But if you were to do a go and do a probability graph and chart, who would be top of the list? Be Harry Kane. Let's keep it a buck. When it comes to forward strikers, it'd be Harry Kane. You know what you're paying for. And for me, Ten Hag can't be doing a 5-year plan. He can't.
No. He knows.
In fact, he needs to do both. Some elements of the squad, plan for the future, long term. Other aspects of the squad, guarantee 3 years of 20+ goals. And by the way, he has 20 goals and he's their most creative player. That he's incredibly disrespected. Do me a favor, there are 36 people watching. Smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. I am close to 1K followers. So share the stream in your group chats on Twitter, in WhatsApp, or wherever it is. I'm an old man, so I don't know what other apps people are using, but share wherever you need to share to.
Come on, guys, get
to 1K.
1,000 followers. Come on.
The next topic we're going to get into, you know what it is? Before we start crashing on Liverpool, I'm going to skip to this topic because Cass got my brain thinking a little bit. I'm going to play devil's advocate for Jim Ratcliffe. So he's owned 2 football clubs. I think a team in Switzerland that got relegated, Nice, who he's trying to improve. And if you read up on it, he's effectively got his own Ed Woodward that's been learning on the job. The difference is this guy's a sportsman and he's tried to do things like, because they got a cycling team or I think a rowing team, they do this thing where everyone within the Ineos sports group share information and technical data and blah, blah, blah. Hasn't gone exactly to plan, but is there a chance he's made his mistakes already? And when he comes into Manchester United, he actually may have an understanding of what's required to get the club where it needs to get to. Are any of you buying that?
I'm not.
Right.
I'm not
so,
take that risk. That's a
so
risk.
listen. No. Yeah, I am. This is what people need to understand, right? Football's changed. I don't care if people like it or they don't like it. Football's changed. And what I mean by that, the structure of football has changed. The way that success comes about in football is completely changed. And when I say completely, I mean it's taken a completely different turn. My biggest problem with the Jim Ratcliffe ownership potential is the Jim Ratcliffe ownership would rely quite a lot on a lot of the kind of sentiment. It would attach itself to slightly the more sentimental side of this great football club, and that's not a bad thing. So it will be a nostalgic based ownership. So what I mean by that is I feel like they would focus on doing the little things that will make the fans happy for now, right now, so the fans are happy, but actually the long-term plan for the club, i.e. the debt on the club, will be brushed under the carpet for a bit, make the fans a little bit happy, put some nostalgia in there, pump some sentiment into it, get the fans nice and excited, and then 6-7 years later, we're gonna start to hear some other financial issues bubbling up, because I don't think they are prepared to just inject hard cash into the club like that. I feel like it's way too business supported and relying largely on Ratcliffe's connection to the Manchester area and all the rest of that.
Hold on,
and
Jimmy, hold on. But Man United are a self-sustainable football club, is what, you know, somebody who's pro Jim Ratcliffe might say to you. We don't need a sugar daddy coming in because Man United generate all this money, apparently. So what would you say to them in response to that, Jimmy?
No, but if the other clubs are getting sugar daddies, so we need to get one. That's how football works now.
You know what it is?
That's how it works, Daniel. Because you know what, this is the other thing as well. For me, the Qatari ownership, the reason it's more attractive to me is because I know how stone cold they're going to be in bringing this club to become the biggest club in the world again. I know how they are going to be stone cold about it. They will pump funds into the club, not willy-nilly, and they're not stupid people. They're very, very smart people. They're very smart business people. They will pump cash into the club because they want to do it. They want this success to come now, today. They're not going to. This is why Ten Hag is going to go for Harry Kane, I feel. Because, yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, because I feel like... So just to finish, Joe. Just finish. So all the success with the Qataris is going to be success right now, today, and I feel like the Jim Ratcliffe success will be a bit more gradual and slightly too sentimental for my liking.
Do you know what? Do you know how I would put it? And I'm sorry, because actually, I don't want to stick on this topic too long.
I've got my piece on this too.
All right, fine. I'll let you guys go. Then it is a democracy, so I'll let you guys go. I look at the ratio balance, right? For me, it's very, very simple. The more money you have, the more you can cover up for mistakes in football, and mistakes are inevitable, right? Mm-hmm. That's why City keep going. They sign the wrong goalkeeper. The owners write off the transfer. They go again. They don't go back into the market having to pay for the previous mistake, right? Because when you're a self-sustainable football, you have to think about how you're going to rectify that situation. And you're not always able to recoup in the transfer market, especially if you put the player on wages that are too high. With Jim Ratcliffe, we're banking on being self-sustainable, competing with sugar daddies, as Jimmy put it. So the level of football competence has to be even better. So, you know, you tell me, anybody who's pro Jim Ratcliffe, just a question. Let's say hypothetically, we could match City's football acumen. What's the qualifier? Is that even the right term? What's the qualifier between the two? What's the difference between the two? We can match them as a football operation. Cool. What advantage do they have over us now? I think we all know the answer. I'll let you go, Johnny, then we'll go to Kaz.
Look, for me, I think you can sum it up even quicker than that. Like, Man United fans have suffered far too long now, and watched the club and the sort of the respect of the team, the respect of the name on the badge, just be totally disintegrated and just fall further and further behind. It's happened for far too long for, I would say, the general consensus fans to be taking risks on Jim Ratcliffe. And I'm not saying that Jim Ratcliffe's a bad guy. I'm not saying he wouldn't have good intentions. I'm sure he would do. But it's been that long now of genuine suffering, like I've said, in the context of football. It's been like just nothing but suffering. And I feel like when you look at what Sheikh Mansour has done at City, and you look at the way he's redeveloped the ground around the Etihad and that stadium, they've got the facilities that they've got, and you look at what Man City is now, you think about what Man United could be with that kind of money. Like Man United, like it's a dream scenario for me, and I just think when we have to be not just competing with City, but we have to be trying to get ahead of City. Like, and I feel like I don't know if we can do that under Ratcliffe. I don't know how long it'll be able to last. will it be sustainable under Ratcliffe? I feel like there's a lot more ifs, buts, and maybes under Ratcliffe than there is with Qatar. And
That's a great way to put it, Johnny.
I feel like,
a great way to put it.
And that's my point. Like when you've gone through what we've gone through, again in the context of football, yeah. When you've gone through what we've gone through, I don't want to take any risks. There's going to be some ifs and buts, of course there is. But I feel like when you look at the ifs and buts with Ratcliffe and you look at the ifs and buts with Qatar, I feel like there's way too many question marks with Ratcliffe. Like, is he going to get the right people in? Is he going to pump his own money in? Like, is it?
To be fair, Johnny, I think. Listen, let's be honest. There's question marks. We've got no guarantee about competence, right?
No, true.
So we're just following the money.
That's true.
And I think like Jimmy said, there are people that are in denial about the importance of money.
I will raise one point.
Complete denial.
Just to play advocate for a second, and I think this is something that we shouldn't be naive about either. And I think it does need raising. You look at what PSG is doing now. PSG have got money. They've got money. Money's not a question over there, as we all know. But they're not doing, with all due respect, with the amount of money they're spending in relation to their success. That's not a good return.
I disagree. Listen, really? PSG, only argument I think you could make against PSG, they don't have anyone to compete with in their league. Cool. That being said, go and look at who's knocked them out of the Champions League the last 5 seasons. If I'm not mistaken, on 4 occasions, the Champions League winner. Yeah? They are a certified Champions League team. Quarterfinal, semi-final, final level, every single year. Make no mistake about it, PSG will get their Champions League. Because they're committed to winning. They may not be the best football operation, although their only problem's really been getting the midfield right, ironically. That's what Man United want to do. Yeah, it's because they put so much money into their forward line. In every other position, they started operating at a different price point.
Daniel,
Hold on, Johnny. People just, at the end of the day, PSG are still a top club. Whether or not they could compete with everyone else in the Premier League is one thing. But you know they're committed to winning, and they will spend all the money possible and do everything they have to do on and off the pitch, to get that success. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Daniel, what I don't
like about Arab to you though, man.
Just one point. What I don't like about PSG is, look, we'd all love in an ideal world to have all the stars at Man United, or the Mbappes and fucking Haalands, everyone at United. But I don't like how they got Messi and Neymar's there. It feels to me like they're more bothered about their image rather than being a functioning team. And like, I feel like I want Man United. We all want stars at Man United. Like that's what people love football for. But I want Man United to be, rather than having loads of stars, I'd rather create our own stars, and United to be a functioning team that can go to the latter stages of these cups. Like, if you look at that PSG team, it's the star-studded team. But I don't think it's got much substance to it. Do you get what I'm saying, Jimmy and Cass? Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. But you know that there's you have to consider the because this is why when I'm saying football is moving so much quicker now. So there is teams used to have time to build a team. Now you don't really have a lot of time. So it's either, if you're lucky enough to gather a group of young players who just happen to click and work like Arsenal now, right? Because, I mean, this is, of course, been assembled because Arteta's read the players well and he's assembled a good team. But also there's an element of luck that it's clicked the way it's clicked. I mean, Arsenal are playing a different level of football at the moment. So it's either you're lucky enough to assemble that, or the alternative is you have to buy success now. And unfortunately, Johnny, that's the reality of it. Is you may have to buy success now. And I'm not saying buy 100 million players across the pitch, but I'm saying you're going to accept that you may have to put money. Johnny, you know, I was one of the main people on Spaces saying I don't want any celebrities at the club. I don't want your Mbappes, your Neymars, and all these players. I've been on record.
But
saying
you know what it is, to me? Not even that I don't want them. I want them if it's right for the team, not because it's right to bring PR and image.
Not PR, but I'm saying success from a football.
You can't generalize because it's different. It's going to be different people.
Let's just say Neymar was right for the team. We all know what comes with Neymar. He's a fantastic footballer, right? But I don't want like Qatar to come in and say, right, you know what, we're just gonna go buy Neymar because it's Neymar. No, I want you to buy what's right for Ten Hag's team. Do you get what
I
I'm
hear
saying?
you.
No,
But you remember
of
how
course.
how
Okay, so
how
look,
wait one
I
sec.
want to
How
put
long?
up this comment. Hold on, Cass. One
I was
second.
just
I want
about to
to
say
put up
this.
this
Let's go.
comment from Launchalon, right?
Go on.
That's the difference right there. They made those decisions because they had to build a brand for PSG immediately.
Yeah,
That's
because
why they
PSG's
were
only been going on for so long. They're a newly founded club. Are
They're
they
not.
not?
If you look at the history of French football, it's what was it? Marseille and Lyon are the most successful football clubs before PSG, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much.
Uh,
Yeah, Lyon is definitely up
I
there.
know it was Marseille.
yeah,
I know,
Leon would be up there. That's for sure.
but it's
People
definitely
don't
Marseille
remember Lissandro Lopez
historically.
and that.
But historically, Marseille is the team, not PSG. So they had to build a brand. And like Cass was going to say, go ahead,
Yeah,
Cass.
there's a reason why they have like in place with the nicest, the best looking training kits, Jordan, this, that, and the other, because they are trying to build their brand. That's the whole point. And to be fair, they are building a very nice brand to the point where people want to buy their clothing, regardless of it being footballing or not. With Nice,
Yeah.
there's this narrative of Jim Ratcliffe he's made Nice worse. He hasn't made Nice worse. If you go look at the trajectory of Nice and their final positions in the leagues, it's just been up and down the same way. It's hard to build out French football getting proper like without FFP getting in the way. It's hard to compete, especially they're in the southeastern of France, right? They're near Cannes. It's in a very nice, luxurious place, so you can definitely you can definitely have a life down there. But to build OGC Nice, of course, it's going to take a long time. Regardless, it's going to take more than a few years. I'm saying because he finished like fifth twice in his 10 years, and then once ninth.
No, he's only on there like 3 years. He's only been
Yeah, he's only been there a few years, and then this season alone, he's like 7th place, and he could do better. Like he was competing up there with Rennes in that last season. They finished in a good position for them. I just think he's just on a learning curve at the moment. I'm just trying to be fair to Ratcliffe. I don't want him, by the way.
But
But he would be better for us than what we currently have, and that's what I don't. That's what I know he would be better for us. But I think
I don't know that.
on the same notice, is go on. What are you gonna say?
I don't know, because if you speak to George, I think Joe would have a different take to that.
No, but I'm not. This whole idea that he would be better for us, I'm sorry.
He won't.
So I could anticipate potentially his Woodward learning from his mistakes and coming to Man United and blah, blah, blah. But there's no guarantee.
Yeah, there's no guarantees of anything. He could be what? You know what? There's no guarantees Qatar's going to be a good.
And I tell you what, if he's got Woodward's ego, we're in serious trouble, right? Ego is what leads to football clubs not changing, yeah? Ego is what leads to people and nepotism. People stick to the relationships they have with people and don't make any changes and look after their boys, etc., etc. My issue with Radcliffe is purely financial.
It is financial
because we're gambling on competence.
Same.
I think he. I do believe he genuinely has a love for the club and wants it to succeed, and he would literally have something to like. Only because
I don't. You know why
I do believe it. It's just that I think it's definitely something, because he could have easily gone and bought Chelsea. Like he could have put in the same amount of money or more to go acquire Chelsea last year. If he really wanted to
buy Chelsea.
I think when a guy has something in their mind and they really want something, they'll do anything they can to succeed. Doesn't mean it's gonna work, but
he tried to buy Chelsea twice.
He tried to buy Chelsea. So that's he didn't decide not to buy Chelsea.
For me, I do genuinely believe he does love the club, but so do many others. But the PR spin is what pisses me off.
Has he got you on payroll or what?
No, I see where Cass landed.
I'm trying to play both cards here, right? Sounding like I want one thing rather than the other. It's called a no agenda show, no? So you must keep it like that. So I must refrain from my shamelessness.
Now the Qatari definitely.
I do believe he wants, but PR spin. He's got the PR on the payroll. People like Miguel Delaney's an absolute dickhead, yeah, because he's trying to spin it one way and trying to pinpoint that the stereotype behind Arab people are basically sports washing just because it's happening in one place. It's not the same people that are going to run Man United or from PSG, because then from that case, then that means PSG are owning Man United and both of them can't compete. So that is all I'm thinking about. I think what it is what you said, Danny. He just doesn't have the financial muscle for what we currently need because we've been neglected for so long. We need to build the stadium. You don't need more debt. I don't care. The debt's going to go into Ineos. That just makes it worse, because that just means when we get our revenues, a lot of that revenue is going to get paid off for Ineos debt regardless.
This is what people don't understand.
People don't understand that. So for me right now, from what I can see and what I've seen from the guy, who's his name, the Altani guy, he comes to more games to Man United. He literally he literally comes to most games and watches us. So from what I can see, this narrative that Jim Ratcliffe loves the club, this guy loves the club even more because he's a frontline guy. He's there. He can see visibly what's shit. So I can tell that he would definitely come to Man United and be like, Nah, this is
No,
shit.
it is because like
I know he will change things in the instant because that's what we need.
when you look at Man United, right? I think we need about. I'm not exaggerating. When you look at the current market, what players are going for, we need 500 million spent on the squad. I'm not even exaggerating there when I say that. And to build a new stadium, which is what I think we need personally. I don't want to get hate for that. I think we need a new stadium. You're looking at 1 billion to 1.5 billion for that, and then the squad. So you're looking at we need a cash injection to get Man United back on a level playing field with the cities, if you will, Real Madrid's.
No, but Johnny, the problem is people. I think people don't understand how much we need cash injection in the club, because the thing is, to a surface fan, and no offense to to anyone who's a casual fan, that's also fine. Everyone loves the club in different ways, but to a surface fan, Man United is just running as usual. It's fine. Everything's all right. Like all these reports that when the chief executive's coming out saying we've run out of cash. And people don't understand how much we need cash in this club.
Wait, Jimmy. See, this is where now I'm not buying that, and I'm going to make this point, and we're going to move on to other topics here. It's very, very simple. Forget the casual. No disrespect to them. There are people on the ground, close to the situation, that want Jim Ratcliffe, and they understand the Glazers are selling up because the well is dried up. What happened?
I'll share it.
That breaking news?
Kind of.
Okay.
Literally on topic.
What we got?
Oh, come on, Kaz.
On topic.
Wait. It's not
We
about
have
it's about the guy. It's about
the situation.
It's about the guy that we're literally talking about right now. By the way, I'm going to share the screen for everyone to see in it. Give me a step. It's just right.
The point I was going to land, Jimmy, is everybody knows the Glazers are selling because we're running out of cash and we're making losses. We're in our overdraft. We have a lot of transfers. We need a new stadium. The self-sustainability of Man United is somewhat outdated. We can spend 150 million every season. The way football is now is not enough.
No, it's not.
And then we also
it's not. So, it's not.
Danny,
people on the ground, they know that. Hold on. Why is it
I can't. Kaz, I can't see what you've shared.
No. Danny shares it on the screen. He has to click add to screen. There we go.
Have to add it to screen.
I'll zoom in just a little bit more.
That's it.
Yes,
I
you
can see it. Yeah, I can see it now.
What does it say? It says Sir Jim Ratcliffe has insisted he will be not sucked into paying a stupid price from MUFC, and it says his interest in buying a club is being driven by a desire to win things. And that's from Telegraph Ducker, by the way, not just anybody. And I'm pretty sure there was another quote with him actually saying what Telegraph Ducker just said. Anyways,
Jim Ratcliffe is so desperate for PR that he's bloody getting Aaron Ramsey to talk to. Aaron Ramsey to big him up in the news. I'm like, fucking hell.
It's going to be in by Wednesday, Thursday for the new bids, right?
That Mike Keegan's been the guy he's had his finger close to the pulse on this story. That Mike.
Yeah. And then what's the cool with all of that is for me is that he knows he probably can't compete with the Altani family. He wants it. Like after that meeting, he wants it. That's what it's been reported. We don't know that for sure, but it's just what's being reported, right? He definitely wants his club and will pay the fee, even if it's stupid, because he wants it badly. Now that just tells me everything I need to know. Look, Ratcliffe will probably end up paying an extra 300 to 400 million on top, but the Altani family are rumored that he's going to go. Look, you can't compete with the average when it comes to money. There's levels to this game.
You can't. And for them, it's like a competition as well. It's like
you got to know this.
They don't like losing. No, they don't like.
And now there's other states involved here, owning Man City, owning Newcastle, and then obviously down in PSG that they probably might end up selling. In the end, it just tells me everything I need to know, man. They are in here. It's a game for them, bro. This is not just finance. This is just a game for them. Who can be the best? Who's going to win a Champions League first? Man City, someone in
the comments saying Qatar will pay the fee up to 8 billion.
Nah. You what, man. You just round. You might as well round off anyways. The subject all day.
Mean, what I want to move on to now, if I possibly can, Liverpool broke. Everybody's favorite Liverpool fan is having a meltdown at the moment. We all know. We don't have to say his name, or maybe we can.
He's Voldemort.
I call him the translator. That's what I call
him Voldemort.
I call him the translator because he was telling everybody that he had some sources in that world that we're claiming Liverpool more attractive, blah 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 blah. And here we are. That's not the case. So Liverpool broke. Are you guys looking at Liverpool and thinking, we've got a little window here where they're not going to be as competitive as they once were? And maybe Ten Hag was right about eras coming to an end. How are you guys feeling and looking at Liverpool's competitors in the short to medium term? In the next 1 to 2 seasons, how are you guys looking at Liverpool?
It's
hard to sound like we're not coming from a rival or
it really is. It really is.
Anyone watching this now,
with Liverpool, I struggle with Liverpool.
You know what? Let me be clear on this. I've been telling their fans, hold on, Cass. I've been telling Liverpool fans for years, FSG are not hiding money. While your revenues have grown, your expenditure has grown. That's why you're not big spenders. And all they're doing now is they're crying because they don't have sugar daddies. So
Danny, who does it sound like? Who does it sound like? You know how what we were doing when Mourinho was there and everyone that was there? I think probably more time after Louis van Gaal left when the situation for Man United happened. Who were we doing? We were blaming this, we were blaming that, and blaming that. So what we've done now, we've literally swapped positions with Liverpool. They're realizing that FSG are going to be the new Glazers, whether they like it or not. They've fallen out with something great in their Michael Edwards, in their director of football. Their staff leaving from all over their gaff, and now they're leaving out a great manager to try, to be fair, who is not a tactician, so they can't pull him through it. Yes, he's a great manager, but he's tactician because they tried to blame Pep Linders, their number 2. I've never heard the number 2 get so much blame and take so much blame. Because you know what the maddest thing is? He's the reason, or one of the reasons, he's the tactician behind it all. They under him and Klopp, they won the Champions League. I didn't hear no complaints then. Right now, they're going through that. They can't balance the books properly. They have to pay such minimal fees just for Gakpo and out front. It's all going to catch up to them. This is why they were looking for investment, but not to sell the club, because they probably thought that it can become a cash cow in the future because of the recent success and being the greatest number 2 to Man City ever, the greatest number 2 ever in the Premier League, bar Arsenal. So
the problem with John, I'll be quick, I promise.
All right.
Do you know what? I'm happy this is happening to them. I am. I'm gassed. I'm happy because Liverpool, they're gonna learn that you should give your manager control, of course, but you should also limit some of that control. And they're gonna learn from this. Because this is what Klopp did at Dortmund. Build this amazing team, run them into the ground, no plans for the future.
Guess who said this, by the way?
Sentiment, or keeping old players in the team. And then guess what?
Sir Alex Ferguson said it, by the way, in 2000. I think they got to the Europa League final against Sevilla, and Sir Alex Ferguson said, you can't press the way they do for 90 minutes with the same squad and not expect to change things up and win things.
You can't. So what he ended up doing is giving the title back to Bayern Munich, right? He's come to Liverpool. What's he done? Build him up nice and quick for 3 years, come in, won his Premier League title, won the Champions League, but the team has been run to the ground. And guess what? He's still sentimental about his players, giving new contracts to old players, he's not really bringing in any credible youth from their academy. He's scared to drop his main players. He's bringing it. Look, just because he's got Van Dijk, who was playing amazing for one season, he's not thought about a defender. Have you linked any defenders to Liverpool this season? No, because apparently his defense is good enough, he said. No, he's run them into the ground. They're all gone. Midfield, Fabinho's still the main midfielder. Are you joking? How are you going to compete with Man City with Fabinho in midfield? You're having a laugh. So he does this. He builds teams up and then he runs them into the ground and he can't help them recover. And at Dortmund, he left. And that's what's going to happen at Liverpool. They gave him too much control. Too much control in that.
Just from an honest standpoint, listen to people like Kurdish and Thiago's father, Mr. E, adds more up. Liverpool fans that I like to think are the more sensible fans. And when I listen to them in the spaces, they're genuinely sound. I don't want to say frightened, but they're very aware of the shit that they're in. And I feel that from an honest standpoint, forget about what's on the pitch. From an honest standpoint, it feels like they've now got their own version of the Glazers, and it feels like all them years when they were taking piss out of United and saying, "What are you complaining for? They spend this, they spend that. You spend more money than anyone." I feel like now they're going to start to understand what it's like to have money and not spend it correctly. Why last summer? Why did they bring in Gakpo? Why did they bring in Nunes when they needed it? They had catastrophic midfield problems.
So glad you said this.
So like all them years where they were sort of mocking us and saying, "No, you don't know how good you've got it. Why? I can't understand why United fans are like the Glazers." Blah 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 blah. Well, you're starting to get a glimpse of looking into the window that we've been looking through for the last 20 years. So I'm glad it's happening to him. I long may it continue. Fuck Liverpool. It's Man United's time to fucking rise, and we've suffered long enough. And you're now going to get a taste of the medicine that we've been fucking shoved down our throats for the last 2 decades. You're going to get a taste now. So I don't have no sympathy for him. Love Thiago, love Vads, they're all good guys. But listen, I've got no sympathy for you because all you've done for the last 20 years is take the piss out of us and laugh at us. And you had your time. You had your time to capitalise when Man United were in the depths of despair, and you got one title, one Champions League. So enjoy it, take it to bed, caress it, because that's all you're fucking getting.
The issue is with Liverpool fans. They look. It's down to bitterness. Yeah, they always, they wish they were Man United. This is the factor. They wish they were Man United. Yeah, they wish they'd done what we did. They spent more than us in Sir Alex Ferguson's era. Just about they were literally on par and par. Like they put in the same amount of money from the 90s to even the 2000s. They spent money. They just refuse to believe it, but the statistics are right.
But
there
they were Man United. That's the thing. They were Man United
in the 70s and 80s when they were competing with your Evertons and then Arsenals and stuff. They had their time. The thing is, they just never went on. The thing is, they are just like Liverpool are just a good cup team. They were a good cup team, should I say? They're good in the cups. When it comes to the league, it's serious. It's just a different ball game, right? So they wish they were Man United. Now they're seeing what their owners really are. They have got money to spend, but the thing is, they're doing what Man United do. They get linked to a player. It's a bit like Jadon Sancho a little bit. The first season when we were
Cass, I'm gonna push back. This is why. Wait, no. I have to correct you. This is why the translator is so upset. They're not bad owners. They're
the translator.
Wait. No, let's be clear. They went into Liverpool. Michael Edwards was just an analyst. Nobody knew who the hell he was. Because of their previous sports model, they saw the value in analytics for football. They put that together. Yeah. Edwards becomes what he becomes, but he is smart enough to realize Moneyball has a limited success rate over a long period of time, especially when we're going toe-to-toe with Manchester City. You don't have to care about mistakes in the market. So FSG have been competent football owners. Yeah. They run the football club well from a financial point of view. The reason why the translator and Liverpool fans are angry is because they know, hold on, Cass, with all this commercial growth, all the second place success, they've got no money because they've got no money. And in this era, you need money to compete.
How do you win a Premier League? How do you win a Premier League and the Champions League and still
be broke? Weird. And with the Qataris coming for Manchester United, and the translator telling their entire fan base
that is going to them,
that they were getting the Qataris. Now they're even more upset.
What's the first word I used? Bitterness. It's bitter behavior. They wish they were Man United. They wish they were our size. And this is the fact. It's a bit like Tottenham fans that expect to be doing this. Tottenham fans also need to realize to stay in their lane and know what kind of club you are. You're just a spicy Martin O'Neill's Aston Villa, and that's about it. You were there in and around 6th, 7th. Or like sometimes you might reach the top of 5, to be fair. I don't think they really got to the 4th place at times, but they're just as spicy as Aston Villa, but with a bit of money. So that's that. And that's what they need to stay in their lane. Liverpool, they need such an injection of cash as well that they can't get. Because they need to.
I've just seen a breaking news in the chat that Conte is leaving.
Apparently he's expected to leave. He's expected to leave at the end of the week. So for me, they need so many areas. They need like 3 midfielders. They need there's rumors of Mo Salah open to leave in the club as well. Van Dijk is not a guy anymore. The thing is, what Fergie was so good at doing is he would realize a player's potential limit, and then he would know when to bring in somebody else. Like they should have pretty much looked at the Van Dijk ACL moves. Never going to come back the same.
I know. Hussam had them tweets drafted and ready to go because I remember being on Spaces and he was telling all the Liverpool fraternity that Qatar's coming in and Man United are going to be left behind, and he was getting ready to laugh at us. And how the tables have fucking turned in a complete 180, and they're coming to us with a bit of luck.
So was this just down to an actual translation?
Pretty much.
I don't know. You have to ask Daniel about that. I don't
More
know
than likely. The thing is, this is what Voldemort does. At first, he's playing ITK in a note, and then when he realized that it's not going to happen, he claimed even today that he was just translating the words because obviously nobody else because nobody else from, like, let's say, I don't know, Redmond TV and that can translate. He was just being a translator. No, he was doing ITK stuff to the point, Voldemort decided to try to come at me personally. But I was just stating facts. Once you play the ITK role, expect that you're gonna get, if you get it wrong, you are going to hold corn, whether you like it or not. It's not about speaking behind anyone's back. This is all on YouTube. It's live. Twitter's live. You can see it. It's there. It's free. You can be known. It's here. But you don't want to hold that smoke. This is why he goes silent all the time whenever he does get put on smoke and tries to, deflect it elsewhere. But that's up to him, and he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing, and rightfully so. He's becoming what he's becoming, which for me, I don't like, obviously. But each to their own. But other than that, back onto the Liverpool situation, it's not gonna next year. They're not gonna compete for me. They could, but no. I don't trust.
Marlo, man. Marlo's in the
I don't trust Jurgen Klopp's talent ID to pull them through. Now they need a director of football. There's probably rumors that they are going to bring in one, but that doesn't mean it's going to solve.
If they, because football's weird, isn't it? Look at Arsenal. They didn't buy any massive names or anything. But they've managed to assemble this team. So sometimes I think, obviously, the main thing is Klopp staying there. That's the main thing, because things are being said, and sometimes I don't know. When I look at Klopp, and because his press conferences are so different, it's all varied, so you never really know where he's at. Like, you can't gauge how he feels about the team or the club really most of the time. So if they keep hold of him and they give him just enough, I think he has the capability to do something with a new team, because I think their front line is fine for now. I think Salah's still got a couple of years in him. And I think,
like Klopp,
I think if Gakpo can keep improving, Nunes, and then they've got what's the new kid on the left hand side? What's his name?
Diaz.
Diaz. They've still got Jota in the team, so their attack is not too bad. But it's whether he can bring in sufficient players in midfield. They don't have to be expensive.
It's not just that, It's not just that.
What we do though, they're chasing a player. A 150 million quoted player
in Bellingham.
You're not going to solve your midfield issues. Use that money to go buy 3 midfielders, not just
that. Kaz, I agree with you 100%.
One of the problems that Klopp seems to have, or one of his weaknesses as a manager, is he's too loyal to certain players. If you speak to Liverpool fans, like Henderson should have gone years ago, Milner should have gone years ago, and he's old.
Now he's apparently rumored to get a new contract, by the way, an extension. Bear in mind, Johnny. Yes, a 1 year extension.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Apparently, Jurgen Klopp wants to give a 1 year extension for Milner, and it's like, bro, we could have went 4 years ago.
Even as just as a football fan, like, just take my out of that for a second. Just as a neutral football fan, that is a disgraceful decision, and that decisions like that, that get you the fan base on top of your neck. They'll be on his neck.
100%. It's people like Jordan Henderson as well. He should be moved on now. Like, it's time to move. Look for new vice captains. The thing is, it's like, I think I can see why they want Jude Bellingham, because they're thinking of what they can make profit off of. It's a bit like Ed Woodward when they bring in Ronaldo, in a way, like they knew they were going to sell shirts and make money, and big money for the club at that, because it'll be a worldwide. If they bring in £50 million players, you can't really, make something out of them more or less, like out.
When you know, so as a football club, if you know you don't have a lot of money, as we know, FSG, they don't have a lot. It's been purported that the skin, right? So why would you squander? And I'm not saying that Jude Bellingham is a bad player or anything. I'm sure he'd do well under Klopp. I'm not doubt about that. But you've got so many holes in your team, and you don't have much money to sort of fill them gaps that you've got. Why would you spend all that money on one player? That doesn't make sense.
No, I don't know.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to invest on one player when you've got other areas of your team that need attention.
Well, they need a right back. They possibly need a new centre back. They need a whole new 3 midfield potentially. They got a lot of areas that need a lot of money spent on. It's just that are they going to get the 200 odd million to free? They need about. For me, because they neglect it for so long, Liverpool needs something like a good 250 to 300 million to sort out every position in terms of squad of team.
Look how much Enzo came to Chelsea for, 120 million.
Yeah, I know.
Modric,
There's
100
levels.
million.
Okay.
Like,
So it comes
like
it comes back to our.
these days, 100 million does not get you far at all. 100 million does not get you far. It's a drop in the ocean. It's a drop in the ocean.
It goes to show like what our original topic when we first started this show off is what was we talking about? Football has changed, as Jimmy was saying, and then obviously Danny was talking about it's like you can't play this money ball thing for so long. Like the game's changed. You need the money, like, or you need to be, you succeeding on a pitch. This is what I mean with Arsenal.
They have
look
at back
they are
to
succeeding
Man
currently.
United. When you look at all like we need a new goalkeeper. I would argue we need 2 fullbacks. I would argue we need at least 1 midfielder. And striker, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions.
The spine still needs upgrading for us. We need. I agree. We need a new. Well, in terms of first team positions, goalkeeper, centre mid, and striker. That's the spine. The spine is for me is the most important thing to upgrade on, and then other areas can be looked upon afterwards. You know what I mean? That's my assessment of Man United. Improve the spine, everything will come with it. Your Sancho will start playing better. Anthony will start playing better. People just start playing better in general. Then you can do short fixes here and there.
But that's the point I was trying to make about Harry Kane, to say Harry Kane is part of that spine that you can create. Because
exactly, Jimmy, I agree. If
that spine is right, all these players that we think are average now automatically become better players. I'm telling you.
Just going back to what Daniel said earlier. Daniel said he mentioned that we can still spend like 150 million over summer, and it's up until sort of last couple of years, Man United has been self-sustainable. But when you look at what money we need to spend now and what the amount of money it costs for a player in the current market, I think that without cash injection now, I don't think United would be self-sustainable anymore, because we need to be spending like north of 200 million every summer, not just 150 or 100.
The potential of Man United, though, in general, like we were making roughly on £800 million, roughly, by the way, give or take, in revenues every season, right? This is what we were doing. It's just until recently. The thing is, when you fell on the pitch, you failed to literally repair what's needed and neglect the asset of your own asset. And then money needs to come. Of course, the revenues are going to fail. When you flop on the pitch, no one wants to see you. And then when another team succeeds, new fans breed and go support that club. That's why you're probably seeing a lot more young Manchester City fans. Now, Man United, this is where Man United has not succeeded. If we do get put the right, if we get the right cash injection, the new stadium, we're going to be the next biggest thing with the stadium, the training facilities and stuff. Instantly, the global fan base, if you're succeeding on a pitch, as we currently are, in a way, if we do end up winning a trophy or more and then go on to do something next season, you'll see everything change just a little bit more, and then we'll be bringing in even more revenues. It's just a thing. Man United's got so much potential. Like, I don't think many really grasp, especially rivals, what we can do in the markets, what we can do.
This is where.
Cass,
But wait. This is where.
Deep down, they know.
This is where when people say, "Oh no, but the Glazers were just business guys. They were good business guys. They just weren't football people." And I'm like, excuse me, they're not, because if they were good business guys, the most logical thing to do is to look after the asset, look after the club. So what is the club? It's a football club. So what do you need to do? Employ people that can give you the best football. So this club would have been worth more than it is now if we were successful. Right. They fumbled the bag. So it's simple. If the football's right, then the value of the club goes up. It's automatic. There's more commercial.
1 second. Sorry, Johnny. I want to move on. Right. This has flown by the way. We're close to an hour. I even got through half the topics I wanted to cover today because the conversation's just been flowing. Shout out to you, man, for that as well. Shout out to everyone who's watching. Smash the like button. Share the stream, please. I need to check if I'm close to, if I got to 1K or not. It ain't supposed to be like rainbows and bunnies and shit. Just
you got you're 22 away. 22. See, after this, Danny, I'll show you a couple things in it that'll help streams in future.
Okay, look at the Cass got the secrets. Professional.
No, he's not Cass's season.
Daniel's Conte gone.
Cass's season.
So what's happening is, Cass, can you share, please, Cass, and get the story up? But basically, what's happened is Conte, they're working on him leaving, and I think it's going to be the end of the season. So, according to Romano, who all of a sudden knows everything,
and Matt Law too, by the way, just letting you know,
he was planning to leave after the Champions League defeat anyway at the end of the season. but they're just finalising things now. So whether he leaves it now or the end of the season, I don't know. I don't really care.
But
But
you know what? With Conte ain't staying there.
If
they tell him he needs to leave at the end of the season, he's not staying there. He's going to leave now.
I want to run my agenda. I'm going to keep it a buck. That's all I care about is my agenda. What do we have here? If you want to do the honours, please, Cass.
So Matt Law's exclusive Tottenham expected to agree Conte departure this week. It's also on Telegraph Football, which is more exclusive than the Romano. I'll tell you that for free. When it comes to Tottenham stuff, Chelsea related, Tottenham Hotspur expected to part ways, as it was said, reported by Telefootball, who Matt Law works for.
Okay, so let me just get to the agenda real quick. All you Man United fans who wanted Conte to come to Manchester.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
Do you see why it was a bad idea? First and foremost, Italian football, anybody who gets their shit together for a season can win that title. So Inter Milan did well building that team. He won it, but no disrespect. Who's the AC Milan title winner from last season? I don't know his name. Do you guys know his name?
No.
Is he an elite manager? I don't know his name. Juve won what? How many league titles after him? 5 in a row?
Yeah, no, they dominated.
Chelsea, as far as I'm concerned, his title at Chelsea, was he's an opportunist. He's an opportunist. That's what Conte is. He's a top opportunist. That's all he is.
He's very good at it. Very good at it.
United. Him and his director of football, everybody told me was elite, was supposed to elevate Tottenham. They were supposed to turn Tottenham into winners. They ain't elevating anything. Domestically, forget Spurs winning trophies. Who cares? That's Spurs. They're FA Cup, League Cup, Worthington Cup team. Who cares? Are you seeing progress in the league? No. Is he improving players? Could he improve George Spence? Wan-Bissaka was out the door with Ten Hag in pre-season. Come back in January, looks like a better player.
All around.
And he's been there 2 seasons. Who's he improved? And all he does is pass the buck, complain, make excuses, demand more. He's never a coach that recognizes where he is, right, in a situation that might be difficult and thinks, how can I make it better? This guy's been in title-winning teams and complained and found a way to leave. I'm so glad we did not hire this man. Don't get me wrong.
Daniel,
hold on, Johnny. I'm hating right now. I'm hating on him right now. Top manager, not an elite manager, and never, ever, ever, ever in a million years the right fit for Manchester United. In a million years. Never will be. Go ahead, Johnny.
But apparently he can only play 3 at the back of what he's got. It's not his fault.
What?
Apparently he can only play 3 at the back with the personnel that he's got. It's not his fault. It's all his players. It's the club. It's nothing to do with him. He has no responsibility in this. That's what the streets are saying.
You know what? The thing is,
can I just play devil's advocate in it? Like,
excuse me. I was just about to do that. But go on, take the reins.
But like, if we break down what he was actually saying, because for me, the sentiment behind everything might be a little bit twisted, but if you put it in bullet points, the facts were the facts. There was nothing he said really that's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait. No, wait. No, I agree. No, I'm playing devil's advocate, and also, I think that the fact that he started off by saying we all get paid a lot of money. I get paid a lot of money. These guys get paid a lot of money. So when people are saying no, but he's ridding himself of all responsibility, I'm like, no, hang on. The man started by saying we all get paid a lot of money.
Jimmy. I'm
playing DA right now. I'm playing devil's advocate.
It's not working. I'll tell you why. He's had 3 transfer windows. I don't care what the pound amount is spent. Yes, Man United spent 260. We spent it on 5 players. 5 players we spent 260 million. So I don't care about the pound amount. We only got 5 football players. I think the 5th one was a goalkeeper. So 4 players really. Yeah. Look at this guy.
Do we know how many of his players? Do we know? Do we know how many players he sanctioned?
Look what Eric Ten Hag is doing with Weghorst, and ask me why Conte can't even give a sub appearance to Dan Juma. You get a young fullback in Jed Spence. You just leave him out completely because you didn't want him. I've already brought up the Wan-Bissaka point. I thought Christian Romero was supposed to be the next big thing according to Tottenham fans. What happened there?
Rolls Royce, they said.
We were told.
Wait.
We were told Tottenham had a better transfer window than Man United. Shout out to George. Shout out to Jay. Yeah.
Yeah, He's not lying.
And you know what? You guys did have a better transfer window. So I'm not going to have any excuses for Conte. He hasn't elevated your team domestically. Forget the trophies. Domestically, have Tottenham leveled up? Is he doing better? Has he improved any players? It's the way the team. He's been there 2 seasons coaching. Are they playing better football? Are they more cohesive?
No.
You know the issue is, Danny. The issue for me is
no excuses.
Tottenham need a project manager currently, and they have needed one, and they need to move on from dinosaur football. You've gone from Nuno, Jose Mourinho, and then now Conte. It's time to move on. When I've seen Tottenham attack, they look dangerous, and yet they want to still play back. As you were saying, I was going to say, there's no reason not to play Jed Spence. Danjuma is you just remove one lighty for another lighty just to replace on the bench.
I wanted Danjuma at Man United, bro. I wanted him. I was one of the people that wanted him.
But the thing is, they have spent money. They have backed him in a way. You probably did agree to all these players bar one, which is pretty much going to be Jed Spence. But you got a wing back. He's an actual wing back.
No one
told you.
Should never have let Poch go.
They never backed Poch. They should have. After the Champions League final, they should have backed him, and they never did. They got the shiny new stadium.
They backed him.
That was their biggest mistake.
The shiny new stadium, and this goes back to my point. Tottenham fans think they're bigger than they are. They need to realize the reality of their club. When you're trophyless as a club, you're not a big club. I'm sorry, you had your time in the 60s. They were part in the 70s, but that's it. Yeah, and because in the 70s they did win, obviously the back in the day Europa League. But they've got better heritage in Europe than Arsenal. Bear in mind, that's all they've got. So, from my point of view, they needed a project manager. They got this guy, but the thing is, everything he said is right. What he said about the fans a couple of weeks ago was right. Like, they need to manage their expectations as a club. What he said about the players and everything yesterday, was it yesterday or the other day, was also right about the owners and all that kind of stuff.
They don't know when Spurs fans at the start of the season were saying they're going to go
the only thing with my issue is Conte. He doesn't know how to take accountability and realize, you know what, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just not a great fit for this club. And he keeps blaming everything on everybody else. What are you going to expect? You're going to have to expect now a shit dressing room. We all went to something with Richarlison. The guy's got 0 goals this season. Maybe
Cass, this is the thing. Somebody will rebut you and say, look, here's a comment from Conte showing he is saying he's taking accountability. We never see it in his actions. The guy does every step of the way is complain. You spoke about expectations, Cass. Our expectations were low. After last season, we were on the floor. We were on the floor. Who picked us up?
You're actually asking me.
There we go.
It all comes down. It does always come down to the manager. And what I don't get with the Levy outers is that, bro, he has made Tottenham successful in the business wise. It can run itself. He's got a shiny new stadium and everything. And maybe they just do need the manager to really point them further and further. Maybe he doesn't want to gamble 300 million on a manager that he doesn't know he can fully trust. I do agree. Levy does have his issues. Like, I think he does miss a trick. Recruitment, you got a criminal of a director of football.
Their recruitment is terrible. It's terrible.
The most paid manager in the whole league, 15 million. You can attract somebody else. There are other options out there. It's just that their system, their board and everything, it just needs a revamp. It's just who's going to advise Levy to do that, and he's a stubborn man. But for me, Tottenham just need to stay in their lane because they were about, if they beat Southampton, they had their jokes ready to say we're above you. But then we're just like, bro, we just won a trophy in our shittest period ever in a decade, and still won a trophy before you. And a trophy. We are now in a semi-final against Brighton. We are also now playing Sevilla. Is it the quarterfinals, I believe? So and obviously we've already won a cup, and the league is where it is, and we still would have had 2 games in hand. The thing is, they just need to put themselves back down to reality. The top 6 ambition can still be there. Just relax. Just for you guys, you got to hope that Levy.
If I were Daniel Levy, I'd swallow my pride and I'd go back to. I would go back to Poch. Listen, they're not a winning club. Spurs. Hear me out. Just hear me out, Daniel. They're not a winning club. Spurs, right? But at least give them good football. At least give them good football. Give them something. I would go back to Poch. If I would leave, I really would.
I don't think that's a good idea for them. I think Poch is too easy. There's new.
So where else would you go, Kaz?
There's new modern managers. Look, I would tempt someone like De Zerbi for them. I would tempt maybe someone like Thomas Frank if you want to play it real safe. I would look out of England itself and look at Ruben Amorim, who plays a great style of football, who have actually a decent relationship with Tottenham as it goes. So I would look towards that. There's players in there that you can take, just like how Ten Hag did. He went to Ajax. He got the people that can play his system. Right now, all Spurs know is a 3-4-3, exactly the same way, sometimes an adjusted 3-5-2. So if you go get Ruben Amorim, you can go get a couple. Maybe Michael Edwards can come back. Maybe Agate would be tempted. Maybe a Gonzalo Inacio might be tempted to come in with a project. But it's about, can they do it? Are they going to do it over the line? Does it make too much sense? Because we got to remember, Ten Hag went there for an interview process and he rejected him. Now that is an L in itself. It goes to show they don't want a project manager. They want someone that can do something now to shut the fans the fuck up. That's it. That's what Daniel Levy tells me with his recent appointments.
So Tottenham, funny enough, they're becoming a commercial club. That's why they want elite managers, right? Because they're looking at the commercial aspect. Listen, when I was growing up, Tottenham played good football and were a cup team. And that's all they were. They're a project football club. Yeah? You don't have the pedigree, history, or the know-how to compete with the actual big football clubs in English football. And the sooner their fans accept that Poch was just a purple patch in history when other people weren't doing well, the better. But you know what? I'm happy for them to say, you're Man United fans, you got beat yours, how dare you, who are you? Listen, I'm 35 years old, I'm going to be 36 in 2 months, yeah? And you guys still ain't done anything more significant than my football club in my lifetime yet. So, yeah, I'm going to keep talking my shit. And it's up to your football club to prove me wrong at the end of the day. Jimmy, I'll let you say what you need to say on Conte, then we're probably going to wrap it up there because we're over an hour in. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, when I look at him, I agree with everything everyone said, because Conte is very much a very short-term manager. And I was listening to, unfortunately, Talk Shite, and they were discussing how Spurs have had, obviously, because Levy's been trying this quick fix. Now, Mourinho was an attempt at that, and then obviously Conte is an attempt at that as well. So the problem is, to do that, it usually works if you have a team that has the players, but the managers haven't worked. Whereas with Spurs, you're looking at a team that they didn't have the players and they couldn't find a manager. So when you have a group of players that have just been on a downward spiral, but they actually haven't got enough ability, or they're not capable of getting themselves back just from their own pure ability, if they get the right manager, it's never going to work. And this shouting and screaming just makes it worse, because these guys know this guy's here short term. So why would they play for him now? So he's shot the club in the foot with this rant for me, because it means the players are now going to fold. If he's staying until the end of the season now, the players are going to fold even worse now. I think it's going to have the opposite effect to what maybe he was hoping it might have, if that's what he was thinking, saying all this. So yeah, I think they're gonna get worse, and I think they won't make top 4 if he stays.
I think I need them to make top 4 because I'd rather Liverpool weren't in it. So yeah, no, Tottenham. I said all of that. My bad. Make top 4, please.
I think Tottenham will do top 4. What they're great at is sacking a manager, then going on a little bit of a run, or looking somewhat stable, more stable than they usually do, and then they somehow make top 4, because they have been making top 4 more or less. So I think they still get top 4, but I think Liverpool definitely have their outside chance. Don't believe in Newcastle still, and I'll still run my Newcastle agenda, by the way. And I've been right about it. It's just, I have been like this is. They've been
we're here for it. We're here for it.
We're gonna go there, and I actually do believe. This is not me getting giddy. It's just a fact of what players we have back, and the rest of the Marcus Rashford situation. I do believe we beat them at their ground. They're not that great. They're not as great as people make them out to be, but they are a tough side. So, but that's it.
They're a tough side, but I agree that they're not as great as people are making them out to be. To be honest, I've not seen anything.
Sean Longstaff in your ranks. Don't ever piss me off.
Do you know what's mad, people? So I had so many talking points to get through today. I'm gonna give up to the panel. We're gonna end. We'll do one more topic. It's flown by. Like, honestly, I do streams for an hour sometimes, and it feels long to get to the end of it.
It happens, Danny. Trust me, I know all about it.
Flown by.
You used to it. It's flown by, man. I'm looking at time.
I'll leave up to you guys. You guys cool for another 20 minutes?
Yeah, I'm blessed, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm blessed.
I'm enjoying this. It feels like a space
without
in my ear, like drills say, "Look, Tommy, why are you doing this? You don't know what you're talking about." You know what I mean?
Yo, that was a great impression of drill.
So you know what?
That's a great drill chest.
Marlo in the comments wanted to discuss Sancho and Anthony, or we wanted to discuss Sancho. I want to throw both of these guys together because I think actually they're similar profiles. Just people like one over the other, so they don't want to have that conversation. They're quite similar in terms of what they need to thrive as football players.
Johnny's knackered.
Oh man, there's so
I
many
should have
different
get
ways I can go in with this. Sancho, Anthony for the right wing. Who do you guys think is going to win that battle?
Antony, and it's as simple as this. The manager, Antony's the manager's signing. I feel like in terms of the system, I think Antony understands more what the manager wants. And I think like he's going to come out victorious in that fight. I don't think it's a contest, to be honest. The manager, like from like he's the financial point of view, is put a lot of money into Antony, so he's not going to want egg on his face and feel like and have to swallow his pride and say, "Oh, Antony's not working. I'm going to put Sancho there." He's going to do everything in his power to make sure Antony's the guy there. And I feel like Antony is
no, but Antony not starting doesn't mean he's not in the team. So it's not
I disagree. If I know anything about Ten Hag, every manager has their favourites. Don't get me wrong. And unfortunately, or fortunately for some, Antony might be one of his favourites.
Yeah.
But I can tell he's got his arm around Sancho, trying to build him into something. And what I feel like I can see with Sancho, I think he's going to be remember, Sancho is 22 years old, by the way. He's not old. When he gets his players, I think Sancho will truly cook. I think eventually Sancho will end up taking the reins in the middle of the field at some point. He might make him into something, or if anything, he might be utilized differently. I think so. He'll be. I think he'll use.
I don't see it, man. That bit I don't see.
He won't take Bruno's position. I think Bruno is.
I don't see that bit. I don't see that.
For me, Bruno is too valuable.
Be careful, because there's BDL looking about everywhere.
I don't give a shit. I don't care. Look, no, because I appreciate Bruno this season. It's just
BDL,
salute BDL, salute, shout out BDL, shout out all the BDL members. We need to come up with a gang sign for the BDL.
I'll mix my sign. I mean, I'll mix my speech into the relevant, obviously, topic. For me, Bruno, I appreciate Bruno this season. Last year, I was heavily Bruno out with you, Johnny. This season, I can say that, yes, he looks mentally tired. Not physically, mentally tired in some of these games. But the thing is, it's easy to point my finger. I get tired of Bruno. I get tired of a lot of players. But with him, he's been so monumental to Man United. Because I just remember that Aston Villa game where he wasn't playing and we looked dud. Like, we looked so...
It was one game, Kaz. One game.
No, but that said everything I need to know. Because without Bruno on the side, we look lifeless, and because he's the only person that's really trying something, so I can appreciate Bruno. And I think if you put again, I think me and Danny had a conversation about it before the season started. We were both mixed and matching on a space, saying how vital Bruno be to Ten Hag's system. A lot of people were saying he's not an Eric Ten Hag player. Clearly, he really is, because if you put in someone that you have to hide his deficiencies. He's been used on the right to cover deficiencies of what our squad currently lacks at the moment. So for me, if you put him like Kane and a controller, Bruno doesn't need to get back as much. He can just do what he does best. Go create, go score goals, and do your thing. So for me, I appreciate Bruno and I think he will succeed. But what I'm going to see in Sancho, I think he's going to always be preferring Anthony because he's naturally left-footed. But Sancho will get a lot of game time. He will play. What we're seeing is him coming into the 10 now, into the middle, because he probably thinks he's going to try to train him up to be not just a left or right winger, but also maybe the 8 sometimes.
But if he's going to put Sancho at 10, what's he doing with Bruno?
So no, because right now Bruno has to cover because he doesn't trust the players to do the current right job, and that's where we come back to.
You're making it sound like
you ain't replacing Bruno in a Ten Hag team.
Ten Hag has his favorite. Ten Hag has his favorites, and unfortunately, one sec. I'm gonna land this.
This guy's got Ten syndrome.
Every manager has their favorites, and unfortunately for some, Bruno is pretty much, I think he's Ten Hag's favorite player in the whole squad, other than Rashford.
Yeah, he is.
And whether you like it or not, you're gonna have to get used to it.
No, whether you like it or not, he is.
Next season, I think people like yourself, Johnny, and others as well, like, it can come to more realization what Bruno really can bring to this team.
Can you just allow me to break? Can you allow me to break Johnny's heart real quick? Can I just break? Can I just break Johnny's heart?
You can all have all the BDL members you want, and the manager can come out.
Shout out to all the BDL. We need to come up with a gang sign for the BDL.
The manager can come out himself and say he's the best since sliced bread. He ain't ever made my cup of tea, and I'll fucking get him out tomorrow.
I agree, Johnny. He's not my cup of tea.
All right. I'm gonna mute everybody's mic. Let's get back on topic.
So Sancho and Anthony. I think Anthony wins. I think Anthony will end up winning the battle just because of the way. I think just because of what I've seen of previous teams of Eric Ten Hag, of what he likes and what he wants to do with the fullbacks as well. I think the fullbacks are the key ones for me. What he wants to do with them, whether it's inside or out, or who makes them overlaps. He wants his players to go inside.
You know what it is?
I think they'll both they're both fighting for that right spot. I'll be honest. But when Ahmad comes in, I'm not saying he's going to be a thingy, but he's going to cause issues with headaches as well. So just remember that, because he is a fantastic player. If you're good enough, you play.
So this is where it gets sticky, and there are people. They know everything that you said about Anthony. They're aware of. Rashford, best position left forward. I don't believe that anymore. But anyway, a lot of people believe that. So because Bruno, from a footballing point of view, from an output point of view, this season at least, they're looking at it like he's the weak link. That's why people are forcing Jadon Sancho into the number 10 position thing. They're dining on it. And I keep saying to people, right, Eric Ten Hag is not going to validate your opinions. You need to just assess things how they are. And people get mad at me. They get angry, oh, you've got an agenda. Like, no, I'm just pessimistic. This is a guy.
Raul Batiste should tell you everything, Danny. They should tell you everything. Let's decide over Sancho against Raul Batiste.
But I know Sancho can play right wing. He was playing there in pre-season. The manager signed a right winger for £80 million anyway. He misses 3 months or 2.5 months, 2 months of the season. And now he has to get in where he can fit in. And I'm supposed to be optimistic you want me to be one of these people. Oh yeah, Ten Hag's going to play him in the 10.
But you know, the weird thing is, when you put them, I'm looking at the stats now, when you put them next to each other, they are literally the same player.
Like, yeah, I get it, but I got a feeling he's going to get sold. I think he potentially, depending on the owners, Sancho might end up seeking a move away from Man United, unfortunately, if he can't hold down the place. Look, he was one of my players against Fulham.
Not if Ten Hag doesn't want him to
against Fulham. He needs consistent. It's no point keeping the man if you're not going to keep consistent.
You know, the thing is that I don't even think we've seen Sancho peak Sancho at United once. I don't think Sancho's played anywhere close to his capability at United.
And this is where
he knows that as well. He knows.
You know what I think happens?
This is where I argue. One sec, Danny. This is where I argue where our spine is not as great as people think they are. It's good, but it could be better. There's some people that can handle games by themselves and play and just adapt and play great. And then there's some players that need a system to be put in place for them to thrive in, which I think Sancho needs a system to thrive in and certain players to thrive with. That's it. You either hold your own or you can't. And I don't think he can't. It's clear as day he can't hold his own. Anthony can't hold his own either. He's just preferred. And as Johnny was saying, he spent a lot of money on him. That's his guy, you know, and with other things as well. So I just think it's down to a system. And I think we can probably judge him more again next season if hopefully we get the players and see where we can go from there. I think that's for every single player, by the way, bar Maguire and Scott McTominay.
Can I make my comparative points between the two?
Yeah, of course.
Because for personally, and this is my point is maybe a bit layered, and that might be annoying to you guys, but I think. Please listen to my statement, and Danny, don't kill me yet. Just let me make my point, right? Let me make my point. Don't kill me, please. Let me make.
Okay. Obviously, not going to sound good. This is
Jadon's right. Informed Jadon Sancho is my preference over Anthony as a right winger for me. That's my preference.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
So. And what I mean by inform is
what about inform Anthony?
The big things. So wait, I'll come to that, right. Because I think inform Jadon Sancho takes on more people. I think makes the right back better. I think a lot, and that means he makes the right back way more mobile. So we can, and then Daniel, you can start going into the conversation about a 3-2 build up and the 3-1 build up and all that, because I think that's affected by how effective these guys are and how well they're working together on the right. So an informed Sancho is dynamic enough to do all the things that will allow us to build better from that side of the pitch. And an informed Anthony, I don't think is actually that different to the Anthony that we're seeing now, for me personally, because he's not any quicker. We know that Anthony lacks pace. So he is not that much quicker in form. I don't think physically he'll get better from a pace perspective, because I don't think you can really develop pace in a significant way at all. I don't think so.
Do you know what it is?
I don't think he dribbles more. I think an informed Anthony only gives us one better thing than he does now, which is how much he either crosses the ball or the decision making in terms of when does he cut in, when does he go wide. And I think that's the only thing that you will get better from Anthony. And informed Sancho is everything else.
I think you make a good point there, Jim. I feel like informed Sancho, I feel like there's more to his game. I think Sancho's got more to his game than Anthony. I feel like there's more substance to Sancho than there is to Anthony. I feel like Sancho's a more intelligent player. I feel like Sancho makes better decisions. I'm not saying that Anthony's a bad player. I don't want it to come across that. I'm not saying that. But from the sample size that I've seen Anthony, and from what I've seen of Sancho, I don't think Sancho is a far better player. There's more to his game. I think he brings more to the team. Whether he can realise that in time for Ten Hag to see the benefit of that, I don't know, because like I say, when a manager spent that much money on a player, he's going to do everything in his power, one, to make sure that player fits, and two, he doesn't want egg on his face. He does not want egg on his face. And for him to men don't like swallowing the pride in general. I hate swallowing my pride. Well, I've had to do it a few times in my life, but generally speaking, men do not like swallowing their pride. It doesn't come natural to us. So when he's spent that amount of money on the player, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that Anthony flourishes. But I do think the best I've seen of Anthony and the best I've seen of Sancho, I think Sancho is clear of him as a footballer. I think he's just a better footballer.
We can only judge from what we've seen in Bundesliga, and that doesn't always translate to the Premier League. Because what I've seen of Anthony, which hasn't been highlighted right now, Anthony has a big game goal in him. No one's mentioned this. He has a clutch moment in him where he can change stuff.
Question. Just playing devil's advocate here. In a Man United shirt, who's shown you more?
Anthony has.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Daniel. Anthony.
That's what we can. And the fact is, it's only been 7 months of a. That's a small snippet.
So
and Sancho's been here for nearly 2 years. They had Ollie, by the way, which more,
but the predictions from Jimmy and Johnny are Sancho's ceiling is higher. So Anthony, being a worse decision maker, a less intelligent football player, having some injury problems, going to a World Cup.
I knew you were going to start doing this. I knew you were going to start doing this. You know what? I know Daniel was going to start doing this. I knew.
And can I add on to Danny's thing? This is
I knew he was going to do this. I knew he was going to start doing this technically.
Thing with me, yeah, I like aesthetic.
Like, we're not watching this football. We're watching
this,
guys, man. Come on,
yeah, and aesthetic ability, right? And I'm always for that. But Baller FC, which I think Danny quotes as well, can't realize this. Sometimes Baller FC doesn't work out, unfortunately, because they're better on the eye. Yes, Sancho is definitely better on the eye. Yes, he's a better dribbler and everything. But from the snippet I've seen in 7 months compared to the snippet I've seen in Sancho's 2 years, even under Ollie,
I think they've got similar dribbling ability, actually. I think their dribbling is probably
Sancho is 100%. Probably our best dribbler in the team, yeah. He probably is, right? But if you can't emulate that onto the pitch, what's the point?
No,
I'm just trying to figure out why people expect more from the player they've seen less from.
Because I think both of them players. The thing is, I don't want to judge it, Jamie. I don't want to judge it. But
that's a ridiculous statement. That's a ridiculous statement. We've seen him. It's not like this kid has come out of the academy and just got into the first team, and I'm
talking in the Premier League.
No, but it doesn't matter what league it is. What the German league is that shit that we've seen there was just what? It was just a miracle.
No.
In the training session. It's not in secondary school. This is
unfortunately, what he did in the Bundesliga, right, is no longer applicable here. He needs to do it now in Ten Hag's team in the Premier League.
He will do it. He will do it.
He has done it a couple times, to be fair.
I'm trying to figure out is why you're more optimistic about a player. Sorry, you're pessimistic about a player who has shown you more in 7
I'm not pessimistic about him. No. We're just comparing.
I'll give you an example.
Look at this.
Wait. One second. So it's just what Johnny said. I think he's more intelligent, etc., right? But then you've seen Anthony in a smaller sample size show you more. What did Anthony show you that was more? Exactly. I'm confused. I'm just confused.
Are you asking me why is Anthony showing us more?
I think Johnny's frozen anyway.
Yeah, he is.
No, Johnny. No, he's moving. He's moving now.
I mean, how do you
He's just
stay so
knackered.
still?
It's
Right.
just straight frozen.
That was spooky.
Nah, he thinks he's on a mission, isn't he? But no, you're not on a
I'm-
mission, John. It's fine.
I'm just messing with you guys. You know what it is? It's very simple, yeah? At some point, Ten Hag has to just recognise the fact the club paid 80 million for Anthony, 77 million for Sancho. What we paid for either player is irrelevant. I think there's room for both of them on the right-hand side. I actually think Sancho...
Rotation.
I think Sancho is a first-team player. I don't like the term squad player. I used to play Football Manager. For squad player, I don't like that term. I think
I
Sancho,
don't like that term.
I don't think Sancho, in the short term, is going to be the superstar we all wanted him to be. I think he's going to be a first-team player that basically fills in left wing, right wing, or attacking mid on occasion at home against weak opposition.
But if you're Sancho, what should you do then?
Stay. You should stay and fight for your place, because you know why, Jimmy?
No, but
because
what do you do in your game? What do you do to your game to stay in the just to start? So do you force yourself to master one position and try and take that place and claim it, or do you accept the role of playing anywhere in the front three positions?
I want to narrow this down just to one, and I hate to do it because it is the sample size. Unfortunately, we have to look at Manchester City. Pep always rotates and keeps the players happy, and then there will be one odd player every couple seasons that wants to leave at the end because they feel like they should be doing this or that. That's the way it's going to have to be. Anthony's not going to play every game. There might be some games Sancho suits more than Anthony, vice versa, right? And until we get that collective of players for these players to thrive a little bit more, because, like you said, when Harry Kane comes in, or if he does come in, he's going to improve players. And I do believe when Sancho gets to play with somebody like Martial, who is back, fortunately, and if he can stay fit, you probably see his game play a lot better. I remember seeing, you know what it is for what I saw? I saw a game against Everton where I saw Martial and Anthony play. That was a snippet I've got, and we played some great football that day. That's the Anthony I want to see more. He hit the post, I think he nearly scored a couple more goals.
He hit the post. So
that's why I don't want to judge the situation now, and I want to judge it next season, because I believe they are systematic players. And when they come through with that system, then I could be like, cool, I can pinpoint which player I think should nail down a position more in my starting 11, not Eric Ten Hag's, mine. So on that note, I'll wait till then. It's a good future as long as Qataris come through, because all this note of if Qataris don't come through, Harry Kane is not happening. A lot of these players are not happening, unfortunately, and it will be just a lot of news from outlets, and we might get the odd 30 million. Because you know why? Because we owe so much money, and then financial fair play will absolutely grab us by the balls.
Listen, all it takes, the team viewer deal is up, by the way. That's all we need. In the summer, 100 million media and kit sponsor package all in one. Media, kit, shin pad, sleeve, elbow, whatever they need to do. 100 million. Add Champions League football, FFP. They'll all of a sudden, Ducker and whoever else did the headlines. Man United can't spend on new owners because of even FFP. What's the tune? One Qatari deal.
Yeah.
That's gone. It's done. Yeah, that's what I say. One Qatari deal is done, and that's my point to wrap up Sancho and Anthony. I think next season is the only realistic way we can really judge these players, because I think they're just quite similar in that version.
There's not a lot between them.
I think there's
not a lot between them.
I
think they're more alike than they are different.
You never see me talk more logical ball than this show itself. I promise you that now.
That's the influence of the devil in the details, isn't it? Johnny, I know you need to go. So Rashford has withdrawn from the England squad.
Yeah.
Just want your thoughts on that, please, before you go.
I didn't want him to go anywhere. Fuck Gareth Southgate. He's a fucking fraud. Fuck him. Honestly, I've got no interest in touching football whatsoever until that guy's sacked. Literally, couldn't care. Couldn't give less of a fuck. I'm glad Rashford took a rest. He needs a rest because he's been our main source of goals this season. I think we can all agree lately his performances have not been good enough. Not the team haven't either, but his performances have not been good enough. I think since that Liverpool defeat, he's just been missing. So he needs this break for me. I hope he just puts his feet up, just relaxes, just reports to standard training, and just rests and recuperates. I hope more of the United players don't go in his strategy duty. Boycott that fucking fraud. Honestly, fuck him. Just fuck him. I'm glad Rashford's having a break. He needs a break. Desperately needs a break. I think he's played every minute of this season where he's been available. I think there are a couple of occasions that I can think of top of my head where he had the disciplinary where he was dropped for one game. Other than that, I think Rashford's played nearly every minute, so he is crying out for a break. So, no, it's music to me, man. Rest up, Rashford. Put your feet up, get Netflix on, and relax.
One quick follow-up before you go. You're not concerned that Erik ten Hag's been playing him injured?
I mean, Rashford doesn't look injured to me. He just looks. I mean, a bit like he doesn't look injured. Personally, I don't think he's injured.
He's mentally knackered. You can tell.
He might be mentally knackered, but I don't.
He's mentally knackered.
He's not moving. Like he's not moving.
Okay, but you're not concerned that we've been playing someone who's fatigued and mentally knackered. Then.
Yeah, but I think that's the same. I think that's the same response for all the players. If I'm being honest.
But Daniel, like from the manager's perspective, given where we're going for this season in terms of like try to secure top four, the Europa League, the League Cup. Oh, we've done that, but the FA Cup, and given that Martial's not available, Sancho's not up to, firing all cylinders, and then Anthony is kind of a bit hit or miss. He doesn't really have a choice but to play Rashford every God-given minute. I don't think
like you don't have so you're comfortable with the manager.
I'm not. It's not that I'm comfortable with it. I understand it.
Every player's got one thing that everyone needs to know. Every player has to play through some sort of injury or just through it, because that's what it takes to succeed. And if it pays off, it's in a way it will breed a mentality like naturally. Anyways, that's it. And if it doesn't work, and if it doesn't work out and don't pay off, then it can really backfire. Hence, Oli, situations like that when we got to a final in the Europa League or against Sevilla, or was it a semi-final and we didn't win it, and all this kind of stuff. And even in other games, that's it. I think Rashford's okay with it, because I think as long as you see the vision, I think if the players, I'm trying to think of if it's me, if the players can see what he's trying to do and how much he's demanding for this club to be somewhere, I think everyone's bought into Erik ten Hag, so they will do what they can. Bruno, I wish he didn't go on international break as well, because I think he mentally.
I was saying that I think these players are asking the manager they want to keep playing. Honestly, like I feel like Rashford is saying to the manager, I'm going to play. I'm good to play. I'm fine. I'm all right. I feel like he is, and I could be completely wrong, but I feel like Bruno's the same.
I think that
Shaw's another one that needs
Shaw's another one. Martinez, all these players. I feel like they just say, "No, I'm good. I'm all right."
I like Varane and Casemiro should come back fresh, and I think people like Sabitzer need to be playing with Austria to get them vital minutes in and everything as well. Don't you think, Danny? Like that's what the ones that don't really play too much for us should be getting those minutes in, and should be hopefully like Malacia as well.
I'm looking at the core group, so
yeah,
I'm happy. I don't know what's happened to Jimmy there. I can't even mute him. You back? Yeah, Jimmy's back with us. Listen, man, football players protect your bodies when you need to. There comes a point where I get it for blood and country and all of that.
Yeah, but you got to look out for yourself.
If the end result is you can't actually perform, I want to see Martinez withdraw from the squad cast. I can tell he's suffering a little bit. That's why we're seeing more mistakes. He's suffering physically. Yeah. By the way, why Ten Hag has never ever played him as a DM, because Ten Hag knows.
This is why I don't mind the Argentina squad. Just one, because I know he won't start because he's not the manager's favourites. He'll be on the bench.
But he's still traveling.
What, for Argentina? You think so?
Travel is the thing. He's got to go to wherever he has to go. Wait, he has to go to wherever. Where is it? Where's Argentina? It'll be good to know who they're playing.
Their camp's probably going to be South America. Who knows? He's probably going to take a little trip to South America, go home, see his fam, then go to the. Do you know what I mean?
We got more games coming up, so he needs to expect that we might have to play Luke Shaw there. It might be a thing against Newcastle where he has to play like Shaw, and Varane's going to be fresh, right? He's going to be fresh. People like Wan-Bissaka's not going nowhere. He needs a mental break as well. And
did Dalot go to the Portuguese? Did Dalot go?
I'm not too sure, but he needs to find.
I'm not sure.
He needs to find some form, because we need the low. Like, as much as I don't really like him, and I know we need a new right back.
I don't know if you saw the video of Faz saying to Dalot, but you need to stay.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with what he said. He didn't do it in a malicious way.
No, there's nothing wrong. No, there's nothing wrong.
And to be fair, he's just saying what everyone else is saying on Spaces, anyways.
Listen, if he ends up getting his Dalot interview, what are we all going to be saying then? Nothing. So salute to Faz. Keep playing the game. I hope you get your Dalot interview that you're looking for.
Good luck. Good luck to him, man. Good luck to him.
Look, Nonchalant knew exactly what I was doing with Johnny before Johnny had to go. Yeah, it was different. You haven't forgotten, have you, Nonchalant? All of a sudden, they understand now.
People
They
are
understand.
quite disappointed. People are quite disappointed that we didn't talk about Bruno when Johnny was here. So if you look at the comments, you know, there was a few people saying, "I talk about Bruno," because they want
You know what?
to see.
Maybe if you tune into episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you might get that
There you
conversation.
go. You
off
might get
camera.
that conversation. So,
But you need to
I
keep
also,
it
tune
I
in,
also think
tune in,
Eriksen,
tune in.
Eriksen being back for Newcastle potentially, it won't be his greatest game. I doubt it. But what I can say is he's going to be so vital when it comes to games like Brentford and that at home, when we need to control the game. Like
Yeah.
like Eriksen is basically kind of like Bruno in a way, just more pretty in the eye. That's it. And he does give away the ball. But what we do give up is an element of control. I think Eriksen and Sabitzer could really be a decent duo for us. Maybe put Fred in around if you need to rest Bruno. If like as a solid unit, you got legs, you got a guy that's can be, you know, I want to see the Sabitzer of Leeds, and that's the Sabitzer. You can't trust McTominay, you can't trust Fred to do that DM job, so it's going to be Sabitzer, and hopefully probably put Fred next to it, and hopefully go with there because that's all we've got at the moment. And maybe might even put Bruno next to Sabitzer and try something else out. Who knows?
I just hope everybody comes back fit first and foremost.
Yeah, that's the main thing for me as well, because we're going into such an important part of the season. I just hope, you know, everyone comes back and they're good to go and they're fit to play, and because we can't afford to lose any kind of ground now. It's crucial.
What's your
Crucial
thoughts on the
times.
Rashford situation, though, Jimmy? Like, are you happy to see him be like, you know what?
Yeah, selfishly.
You know?
Yeah, selfishly. Yeah, because I don't think. I mean, I don't. I'm not that bothered about international football. Maybe like most people these days. Mainly because just some decisions that have been made for the team and stuff, I've just not really agreed with a lot of it, and I'm not bothered. The games have been boring for the most part. Forcing certain systems that you think, why are you still trying to do this? It's not worked. It's never going to work. So try something else. So it just gets a bit boring for me to watch. So I'm not bothered. So yeah, selfishly, I'm glad he's staying so he can get some rest and he can play well for my club. I'm more bothered about that. Of course I watch international football, but as long as they're on this fuckery and they're not making any attempts to change the way that the team is performing, and it just looks a bit bleak and a little bit mundane, a bit boring. It's like, why should I make the effort if they're not?
He's like been there, done that. What did I get out of it? I got called the N word and everything else after I missed the pen, and then we didn't even get to the final, and I weren't even a mainstay in the team anyway. I put myself through hell for 2 seasons with club and country. You didn't have a trophy to show for it, and lots of people turned on him. So for me, look after your body.
After your body.
Put yourself first, not the fans.
That's his career. It's his career.
Not the fans, not the manager, not the coach. Put your body first. You can.
Danny, what's the biggest reason? What's the biggest reason players' careers end very early? It's injury. So you have to look after yourself. You have to look after yourself. There's nothing wrong with that.
Shout out to everybody watching. I'm going to read out this comment quickly. I'd love to see Shaw and Bruno withdraw from the squad as well. I don't trust their backups if the worst happened. I agree with that. Everybody smash the like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe. This podcast is going to be a running thing. I'm going to try to do this once a week. I'm going to try to keep the same lineup as well, assuming that these gentlemen here are available. Also, look out tomorrow. I've got a special show coming. The stock drop list. Yes, I got that coming tomorrow. We're going to be looking at the football stocks and seeing whose stock has risen and dropped. And I'm going to be
that's your bread and butter, innit? That's your bread and butter. That's your stuff right there.
But yeah, we're doing the stock drop list, and then hopefully I'll be doing that with Brian and somebody else, and then the usual tactical stuff. I might do a live stream rather than, because you know what it is? It takes a very long time for me to do the tactical stuff and the voiceover and matching it. So I might just do a live stream for that. But yeah, appreciate. I'd love to see you and Suyash doing a tactical breakdown together. I think that'd be quite interesting. If me and Suyash do that, that will be on FMT. That will be on Football Man Talks. It won't be on here. Because for here, I just keep my thing on here. But any collaboration with Suyash, that will definitely happen on FMT. But yeah, shout out to everybody watching. Cass, thank you. Jimmy, appreciate you guys for joining me and supporting me on this. Hopefully we'll be back.
You got my PayPal, yeah?
We'll be back next week. It bounced, said it was some fraudulent account.
No, hey,
Alright.
listen, YouTube is international, so you can do the cash up to get it. Dude, I'll send you my cash up.
Yeah, because Cash App said the same thing. So you know, you get the fraud alert. It gets the like little triangle with the little thing. Yeah, don't send cash money. Basically, that's the message. But
Hey.
yeah, bless up.